All right. Well, thank you, Sam Dehdashti. It's a pleasure to have you on this beautiful trail. It was actually your idea for this trail, so thank you for the idea for the trail. You've been a good friend of mine for the past decade and a half. We've had a lot of experience, shared experiences in our life. So it's my pleasure to try to introduce you to my audience today. What I want to focus on today, at this moment right now, is your career, which started, I believe, in 2022. You got your Bachelor of Education from Lakehead University in 2022. And I want to start off. So you're a teacher, and you've done a year in a remote part of Canada, as well as you've done a year of teaching in China. First, I want to start off by asking you about an experience that you shared with your previous employer, which was a situation where one of your students had brittle bone disease and they couldn't express themselves. Can you tell me about that situation and a little bit about your journey as a teacher?
Yeah, so there was a student during my practicum who couldn't hold a pen or even sit up straight. So we thought he couldn't write. So I brought my laptop in, and then he was able to create words and sentences because he knew the alphabet and the sounds of the letters. He just couldn't hold the pen long enough or firmly enough to write them down on a piece of paper. But the laptop helped him write. He was writing sentences. So he had the knowledge, he just didn't have a way to express it. Yeah.
Interesting. So it was kind of your thinking outside the box that no one has figured it out that this person can express themselves, just not with the traditional medium that pupils use, which is a pen and paper.
Yeah, well, that's the expectation, right? In school, you want kids to first uh, read and write, like with pen and paper. But obviously, this was a very unique situation where the person was not able to do that. So the laptop definitely helped them uh, gain that ability.
Can you give me other examples where you overcome challenges by thinking outside the box for your pupils?
Yeah, usually biggest challenges are students who are, I would say, on the autism spectrum disorder, and for them, you would have to accommodate a lot. So you have to provide them the opportunity um, to learn in a different way or in a different environment or at a different pace because their mind just works differently than ours. So, for example, if a kid wants to go outside and sit on the floor in the hallway as opposed to with 30 other kids in the classroom, you have to give them that permission. You have to let them go in the hallway, sit on the floor, and do their work. If that allows them to actually achieve something, achieve their goal. But if they're gonna go sit out there and just play games or do nothing, then yeah. But actually providing that opportunity for a lot of those kids will uh, enable them to learn better. So that's an example of we say environmental differentiation. So you allow the kids to work in a different environment. Some kids that doesn't work with other kids because it's a spectrum. You have to work with them one on one. So it's not enough that they just go sit outside. You have to sit with them. You have to be there every time. If you're not there, they won't do anything. So for some kids, it's just constant one-on-one support. You sit there, go through the steps one by one. Uh, for some younger kids, you have to um, just like you would do in kindergarten, where you learn like B is ba ba ba, O is o, and then Y is ye, boy. They want to write that down. That's how we teach in kindergarten. But for some older kids, they still haven't learned that, so you still have to do that with them one on one, and that's how they learn. But one-on-one support and a lot of it. Yeah.
Interesting, interesting. So it comes down to dedicating your focus to some some kids that have challenges to provide them that additional area. Yeah, that's okay. We're kind of in a public land, so recording shouldn't be an issue, and hopefully no one pays attention to our conversation.
Trail, actually.
All right, wonderful. So we're in the
Still on the road, yeah.
Rattlesnake Point Conservation Area. Is that the name?
Yeah, Halton region, Rattlesnake Point.
Very nice.
I'm
Very
sure
nice.
it had rattlesnakes at one point. I don't know if it does now. But this is why I recommended this place, because it's on the cliffside. It's got a beautiful view, spring and fall.
Beautiful.
Really nice place. And right now we're on the cliffside. It's right here.
Well, if we get attacked by a rattlesnake, or if we come across one, that will make an interesting podcast. So.
Don't worry. I doubt it. And here's the cliff.
Oh wow, this is a beautiful, beautiful vantage point. Very nice. So yeah, nice.
Some rock climbing down here too. So.
Very nice.
Yeah, and it keeps going. There's waterfalls and other stuff down there too.
Beautiful.
I've never seen a waterfall, but.
Interesting. So let me take a tangent from our earlier conversation and ask you about your opinion on AI and what role it's going to play in the future of education. Like, I mean, already Google is actually working on a tutor LLM, or a large language model, which is specifically geared towards teaching a person one-on-one on multiple subjects. So what are your thoughts on the future of it? Do you think humans are going to have more of a hybrid role where they work in tandem with an AI to teach, or do you think it's going to be replacing most educators?
I think maybe one day, but I just can't. I'm not knowledgeable enough to know when that's going to happen. But for now, I think especially for younger children, because it's childcare, it's not going to be replaced by robots anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
Because a 7-year-old needs real human care,
Right.
Or they will hurt themselves.
Right.
Or they will, bad things will happen if you leave kids alone with robots. But I don't know, maybe in the future it's possible that a robot can be so human-like that can actually take care of very, very young children. For now, I think we need humans.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of learning, we already use computers and apps to teach. There are so many tools we use. Like one of the classrooms I had, all the students had a laptop.
Mm-hmm.
And we use different apps and programs and games to learn and play. Sorry, beautiful view.
No worries. This is wonderful.
But, is it gonna completely be replacing the humans, and there will be no human, just the computers? I'm not sure. I just don't know when that could happen. But in tandem, just like right now, but maybe even more sophisticated, because they say a good teacher is a guide. It's not just somebody who tells you facts that you need to memorize and repeat again.
Right.
Especially with the future job market changing, and you don't even know why you're learning what you're learning, right?
Right.
You're learning something that could be useless in the future.
Absolutely.
But maybe not in the early years, because everybody should learn how to read and write and do basic math. So those are still apply, because you should still learn how to count and do basic math and read and write, because no matter what you're going to do, even if you're just working with AI and doing something like in tandem with AI, and you don't even know what your future job is, you still have to have those basic skills.
Right.
So those things are still there. But maybe computers will replace us in teaching that. I just don't know when.
I mean, just like any other tool, it has the potential to help. And
I think it's good. It definitely does help. There's so many cool games and apps that help you learn. Like, I learned a lot of languages with apps.
Mm-hmm.
And if I didn't have them, if I didn't have that app, maybe my Chinese would not be as good as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot of Chinese, like Mandarin Chinese, with different apps, and it tracks your learning, and it gives you, it tracks your learning. So if you didn't learn a certain word, it helps you repeat it, and by doing that, you learn that word better. Because he keeps making this mistake. Let me try to review this for him, and it helps you learn better. Whereas, it makes no effort in doing that. Whereas a teacher has to like correct your tests,
Right.
Look at it carefully, and then find your mistakes, write them down, and then help you, review them. And he has to do that for like 30 kids or something, right?
Right.
That takes effort and attention, focus. But an AI computer can just do that with no effort. He won't feel tired. He doesn't have other stuff to do. It just naturally does that.
Are we coming back up the same way? Because
I'm not
this is
sure,
going to be
actually.
very
I don't
difficult.
remember.
This is going to be an interesting hike.
I don't remember. There's not too many spots like this. This is, I think, one of the only ones.
All right.
But it's definitely worth it, bro. Look at that.
Oh yeah. No, it's a beautiful scenery. It refreshes the soul, as one might say.
I do remember hiking here. I had to look down a lot.
Yes.
That's what I do remember.
You definitely have to watch your steps here.
A lot of rocks and roots sticking out of the ground.
Yeah, let's just say I'm glad yesterday wasn't leg day, because I'll be feeling it right now.
Yeah. And also glad it's not muddy, because
Oh,
if
yeah,
it was
that's-
muddy, it would be a little
Whole nother
difficult.
obstacle to deal with for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, tools in education. Apps are useful, computers are useful. What do you think is going to be the game-changing tool in the next couple of years? Is it AI? Is it computers? Is it robots potentially?
Not robots. I think that's too far. Maybe one day.
Yeah.
Like humanoid robots that are, replacing teachers. Maybe one day, not soon. But the next thing is probably just more advances in app technology that help kids learn from home or learn more independently. I think that's definitely, it's gonna keep getting better and better and better, especially because there's a lot of money in it. Subscription services, like you can help kids learn with an app, and that app is going to keep charging you a subscription service, just like, for example, Duolingo for adults. So they're going to keep doing that, finding better and better ways to make it more attractive. And I think this way's a little, let's not go this way.
No worries.
I remember this trail.
Okay.
You go up a mountain.
Oh.
We don't want to do that.
Yeah, I'm not really prepared for mountain climbing today, but another podcast maybe.
But yeah, I think subscription service apps that help kids learn independently are going to be getting better and better and better, because there's a lot of competition in it. And there's a demand for it too.
Right.
Maybe not so much in Canada, but in other places there's a huge demand, because there's so much competition. Like in China, high school kids, from what I'm aware of, they go to school in the morning and they come back at 10 at night. Like, they just take a lunch and dinner break. They spend all day at school. All day at school.
Wow.
And there's going to be, even when they come home, they're still learning. They're learning on apps. They're learning on online classes. So they have a lot of demand because of the competition. There's a lot of demand for those individual learning apps. And maybe one day here, maybe two. I'm sure it already exists, just not as much. Yeah, less competition here, maybe, in some ways.
So you have an interesting perspective because of the fact that you taught in China for a year. You have this understanding of the Eastern culture as opposed to the Western culture, which you're more used to. And obviously there's a huge emphasis on education. Tell me a little bit about that.
I think it's just over there. I'm not sure how much understanding I have, to be honest. It's my disclaimer.
Better than mine.
I think it's just over there's a lot more competition,
Mm-hmm.
and it's simply because there's a lot more people.
Mm-hmm.
And what they have this thing called Gao Kao, I think it's called, if I'm not mispronouncing that. It's the university entrance exam, and that determines your whole life. And just imagine how many people are taking that every year. How many people are in China? It's the second biggest population in the world. And what the Chinese say is that if you don't get a good score, your life is over. You are limited to very low-paying jobs and a low-status position in society. And with that, you probably can't get married because you can't afford to buy a house and a car, which is the first thing you need before you get married. That's the first thing they ask you. Do you have a house? Do you have a car? And you also probably can't pay the bride fee. When you want to get married, every bride has a fee. You have to be able to pay that, starting at probably 10,000 Canadian, 20,000 Canadian and up, depending on the city.
Very interesting, because we don't have that in here, but we do have that in our culture, in the Iranian culture. So that's very interesting.
We have bride fee and also divorce fee if you want to marry. Well, yeah, most people I think have the divorce one in Iran, where it's like, if you divorce my daughter, then you have to pay us this much as like kind of a damage fee, right? But in China, up front, it's called a oh god, what was it called? I forgot what it's called. But yeah, in English translation, it's just called bride fee. And yeah, it's just up front. You actually negotiate with the family when you ask for marriage.
Can you get a discount?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, the more the better. The more the better. It's just a way to show that you can financially
You're
support
affluent enough, yeah.
the daughter. Yeah, that's just you're proving, and you give it to the parents. You give it to the parents. That's what it's for. Yeah, so basically, to go back to the education part, it all starts from there. If you do not compete and don't attain a high social position, you're basically, as a man especially, it's very, very difficult for you. And in China, there's a lot more men than women right now because of the one-child policy.
Oh, interesting.
And sadly, a lot of people, when there was a one-child policy, they would find out they have a daughter and they would have an abortion. So now you have more men. And I ran into a lot of people that told me that. Met a lot of single men in their 50s, and they said, yeah, because of the one-child policy, I can't get married because of that, or I couldn't get married. I didn't get married because of that. Yeah, so that's the problem, and that's why they say the population of China is going down. Even though everywhere I went, there was kids running around. Like, I've never seen so many kids running around and screaming and crying and playing in my life. There's kids everywhere. There are so many kids everywhere. It's very hard to find peace and quiet. But
in terms of the replacement numbers, I think each couple has to have like 3 kids in order for the population to grow, and I feel like that's probably not happening. Most couples have 1 kid or maybe even 2. So yeah, that would make sense. But then again, 1.1 billion, that's the current population, if I'm not mistaken. That's still a huge number. So that explains your anecdotal evidence of seeing a lot of kids running around.
So according to my wife, they even need more kids to be able to have population growth. Even as many as you see, even though it seems like a lot, it's not, because it's just a big population, right? It's not a lot. We just need more and more and more.
What were some of the fascinating aspects of the Eastern culture, or in specific the Chinese culture, that really kind of baffled you, or it was more of a shock to your culture senses?
The biggest shock is lack of personal space in China, I think. Especially if you're used to having a lot of space like we do in Canada. Like, look, we're out on the trail right now, and there's nobody here. It's like, this would never happen in China. There would be a line of people here if we were in China. If we were in a beautiful spot like this, that this is a well-known hiking trail near Toronto, biggest city in Canada. If we were in the biggest city in China and we would go to a well-known hiking trail, there would be a line of people behind us and in front of us.
Right.
There would be people, kids running around. There would be people taking pictures, having picnic. There would be loud noises coming from everywhere. People having fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that just doesn't happen in Canada. Maybe if you go to Banff or Jasper in Alberta in the middle of July, yeah, a little bit, but not even close to what
One
you
of the
experience in
privileges that we take for granted is the fact that we have so much privacy and so much personal space here that is not afforded to more populated and densely populated countries.
For sure, like this is amazing. Like the opportunity to relax and think and just have like peace, solitude, I would say, because it's important, right? If you want to come for a walk here alone or with your family, it's just a good time to get away from the hustle and bustle of the city. But in China, you can't do that. I was never able to do that. Even when I went to one of the remotest places, like out in the southwest, in Yunnan, in the mountains, there's still a lot of people everywhere. Even though it's beautiful mountain, nature, trails, ancient cities, but it's still busy. It's still busy, even if it's not holiday season. If it's holiday season, you can't even walk anywhere. It's hard to walk or move. So lack of personal space, I think, is the biggest shock, because it's hard to find a moment of quiet and peace and solitude anyway, which it's important for me, maybe not for everybody. Maybe somebody who grew up in New York City or Shanghai, they just thrive on that. They thrive on the hustle and bustle. They just love that. For me, it's too much personally, so that was a shock for me. It's exciting at first, it's fun, but if you're a person who likes space and nature and being alone, it gets overwhelming. Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah, like when I was growing up in Iran, I didn't have a sense of that, because especially living in the capital city, Tehran, where the population is huge and the density is high, you don't really get a sense of being alone. Although we do have spaces, natural spaces, or like, jungles and forests where you can be, rather secluded. But yeah, I kind of understand what you're saying. Like walking down the bazaar in Tehran and, being shoulder to shoulder with people, like you rarely feel that here unless you're going to a major event or like a sports event or something like that. So
but do you remember, did you ever go to Kolakchar? Like, the mountain trail in the north of Tehran where you walk up?
I think so. I'm not 100% sure.
Darban, those places?
Darban,
you
yes.
have to walk up the mountain?
Yes.
And you reach the top and people have picnics there?
Yeah.
I remember I did that a few times. So many people on the trail.
Yeah.
It's always packed.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So that times a million, and then you're in China, right? Yeah. Iran is definitely, I would say, close. Culturally and density-wise, close to China, but maybe a little, not even like.
Well, I mean, the population doesn't even crack
near.
10%.
Slightly closer to Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, but density-wise, the capital is. But I was born in the south, right? It's not that dense. It wasn't that busy or anything.
Right.
Unless you go to the main bazaar, you have so much space. There's space everywhere. So. Yeah, it's quiet. It's space and it's quiet. Yeah. So I was never used to that. Toronto was too busy for me when we moved here. This place was busy, and then when I saw Europe for the first time, that was busy. But nothing is busy until you see China. Nothing is as overwhelming as going there. It's very exciting though, I would say. It's so much fun. It's really fun. But for me, I would like to visit there and then come back here again. it's not a place where I could ever live long term, just for my mental health. I would be very overwhelmed and stressed. It would definitely shorten my life.
So what other aspects of the Chinese culture do you find fascinating?
How happy people are. People are very happy. How hardworking people are. People work really, really long hours, and they work hard. They, you barely. I think I saw maybe one or two homeless people once, twice.
Wow.
In China, all those. I visited a lot of places. People try to make money in as many ways as possible, selling like a experience, like a game on the side of the road, like fortune telling, or mostly you see selling food. Actually, most people sell fruit. Like they just go to the forest and pick fruit and they sell it on the side of the road, or they have their own farm. But yeah, how hardworking people are, and even though they're working so hard and their life might be difficult, they still look very happy. They're smiling. See people smiling and being happy all day. And proud of their country. I've never seen a place where they're not complaining. They're just happy. They have hope for the future. Like, this is a great place. China's awesome. And they're happy and proud of their country. They're really, really proud. Whereas everywhere else, people are complaining. Oh, government's not doing this, and this is not perfect, this is not good. And they're just not. People are always complaining in places I've seen about the state of life and government, but people are very happy in China. And I think it's because millions and millions, hundreds of millions of people were brought out of poverty in the past few decades.
Right.
So when people see that and they see life improving, and it has improved a lot, so they have hope and they're happy with what they see. Like, everything in many places in China you go looks new. The train stations look brand new, sparkling, clean. The shopping malls, all brand new, like shiny marble everywhere. Beautiful architecture, beautiful designs, everything looks clean and brand new. And one person told me, he's like, in the past 10 years, anybody in China who's over 70, their head is spinning. Because they're like, what happened? Like, where did all this come from? They've developed so quickly, so fast, and people are happy with that. I mean, why wouldn't you be? It looks amazing. It's so beautiful and exciting and clean. And yeah, I kind of miss that. I miss that. It looks amazing. It looks like the future. And a lot of things are fast and convenient and cheap. So even people who are not making a lot of money, they don't go hungry. They can still afford. They eat out every day. They eat all meals mostly. They eat all their meals out. And even if they don't make a lot of money, they can still afford to eat out all 3 meals and go out with their friends and have a beer and enjoy their time. They're still able to do that, and they're happy about that. That's what it seems like to me, but I don't know everything.
Right.
And that's just the short amount of time I've been there. But I'm not sure. I'm sure there's missing pieces. There's things I don't know.
All right, so yeah.
These bugs don't bite, bro.
No, these are midges, most likely.
Yeah.
We're probably close to a body of water. But yeah, you were saying, you haven't been there for too long. I actually want to switch the conversation to another place that not a lot of people visit, and you've lived there for a year. So you were in Norman Wells, part of the Northwest Territories, which is an underserved and underprivileged, I believe, community, in an indigenous community. Is it located in Northwest Territories, right? Like you said, it's 4 hours from plane from Yellowknife.
Oh, I don't remember how long it takes exactly. I think 2 hours
2 hours,
from
right?
Yellowknife
But it's
to,
still a very remote community in terms of
yeah.
being able to access. Hello, being able to access it by car. That's pretty much impossible.
There's no paved roads. There's winter roads, so you can drive
Right,
on the ice road
right.
in
Ice
the
roads are
winter,
the only
which is
possible.
really risky.
Which last year wasn't even possible because we had such a mild winter that not all the lakes froze over completely. So some indigenous and remote communities were suffering from that because that's how they get most of their supplies through trucks that drive on frozen lake beds. But yeah, tell me about your experience. You taught there for a year at an elementary school.
Yeah, yeah, it was an amazing experience, I would say. That makes me want to go back. Like I want to go back one day. I don't know. I'm not sure when I'll be able to, but definitely want to go back. It's definitely the calmest, most relaxed I've ever felt outside of the workplace because it's so peaceful, so quiet, so peaceful, so beautiful. The hardest part is, I would say, a little bit dealing with the cold because you can't always go for a walk outside when it's minus 50.
Hmm.
You just can't because you can't breathe.
Hmm.
It's very hard. I don't know if anybody can. And also dealing with the darkness in the winter because for about 2 to 3 months you don't get a lot of light. Like the sun doesn't come up till like noon, and when it does come up, it's only up there for maybe 2-3 hours, and it's just right on the horizon. It just comes up and it goes back down again. So, and you have to be out working during that time. It's just complete darkness.
So let me ask you about that. So being so close to the poles obviously has that effect where you don't get to see the sun that much. Did it affect your mood?
Um, I don't know. I'm not sure. I tried very hard to be healthy when I was up there. I would run every day, every morning. I would start with a run, so that definitely helped a lot. Every morning I would run 30 minutes, then I would fast and wait till lunch. So I would have my dinner. It's the best routine I've ever had in my life, probably. I had my dinner at like 8 p.m., then go to bed at 10, then wake up at 6, run for 30 minutes, work, eat lunch at 12, again eat dinner at 8, 2 meals a day. And I was so regular and I had such a good routine, and I was very organized, and that helped, I think. And at first it was hard, but the more I did that and the more regular it became, the easier it got to do that. I felt better and better, but my mood was good except for the frustration that came with some parts of the job. Some I can't mention. They're like, you know, you're not allowed to, when you go up there, they make you sign a oath of secrecy. So I'm not actually allowed to discuss
Right, and we don't have to,
parts
obviously.
of the job, specific parts. I'm not allowed to I'm probably not allowed to name people's names or
Right.
say some of the things that happened because I took an oath of secrecy. So and I'm not fully sure why they make you do that, because as a teacher, obviously you're not supposed to discuss publicly your students' problems or some of the things that happen at work. But yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, the frustration came from some aspects of the job, working with people who were difficult, working with students who were difficult, because any job will have that, of course. There's no job where you go and start and it's like heaven.
Right.
That just doesn't happen.
Right.
There's drama everywhere, there's difficult situations everywhere, and all that matters is how you handle those situations, right? Because difficult situations happen. Life is friction, right? So how are you going to handle those situations? That's what matters, and that's where the stress came from. But it was really rewarding. I learned a lot. I think I learned a lot as a person and as a teacher, and I learned about who I am as a person, because how you how you react in some situations teaches you who you are, because show reveals your true self. It's like, wow, I am this person. This happened. I reacted this way. That's who I truly am. So then maybe you're like, that's good. I'm happy I did that. Or you're like, I really need to work on this. I really need to change this about myself. That's not good. It's not okay to behave this way, right? So I can't say specifically what happened,
Right.
but you know what I mean, right? Something happens, you react, you do something, and then you're like, man, that was a bad thing to do. I shouldn't behave that way. And then you try to fix that as you move forward with your
Right.
life.
Right.
And that's a good thing. I think everybody should have that. So I think
Life is a learning journey. You learn and
I think
get better.
I think if somebody is not having those moments, they should figure out a way to give themselves those moments where you're like, wow, this part of me, this part of who I am, or the way I behave is terrible. I should change this, because nobody's perfect, right? So you should figure out what it is that you're doing wrong. So you should put yourself in those situations to help you figure out what it is that you can change about yourself that could make you a better person, right? Whatever those situations are.
Challenging situations where it forces you to grow as a person.
Yeah. Like, and situations where you'll make mistakes and learn from them, right? Because that's what life is. And that's what I should also do for my students, help them make mistakes so they can learn from them. Yeah.
So it must have been very interesting living in a very small town, much smaller than most of us get to experience, like a population of around 600.
Yeah, about that, yeah.
How close was the community there?
Really close. Like, after, I think, some time, not after too long, I found myself just saying hi to people walking across the street, like far away. Like, there would be somebody, I don't know, like, how far does somebody have to be in Toronto for you to say hi to them, for you to acknowledge their presence, right? Pretty close. But over there, maybe like all the way there, as far as your eye can see, you would see them wave, and then you would move close to each other and have a conversation. And if they ask, how are you doing, it's not rhetorical. They actually want to know the answer. They want to know actually how you're doing and have a conversation with you. And it's like a big family. Everybody knows each other. And I'm sure that people that were there already are closer to each other than they are with me, right? They share bonds and friendships that I didn't experience, because I was just there for a short time, compared to some people who have been there for 40 years plus, or their whole lifetime. Who knows? Yeah.
As an educator, do you feel like there's resources available to kids that grew up in a metropolitan area like Toronto that is not available to those communities that they take for granted? Like, what are some of the main resources that are missing there that people take for granted here?
I think, so the first thing that comes to my mind is the resources in the schools were actually much better. Like, a lot of the schools I saw around Toronto, each kid didn't have a laptop. Over there, every student had a laptop. So every single student...
Money.
Every single student had a laptop.
Interesting.
Yeah, their personal laptop with their name on it. And
Very
I didn't see that in any public school in Toronto. So some of the things I remember were actually better. We had so many good resources for learning math and language, like all the lessons for math and language, and all the physical manipulatives for learning math, like base 10 blocks or 100 blocks, or different stuff that you can learn math with. They were all provided for free, so the teacher doesn't have to go out and buy it themselves, doesn't have to spend any of your pocket money. Everything's provided. You don't have to, reinvent the wheel, they say. So many good resources. Well, that's at the school. Outside the school, I would say maybe entertainment is lacking, depending on the age. But what I did notice is the kids there are more free, because there I saw kids all the way up to maybe like 14, 15. I saw them running around, playing in the street, playing football or baseball, going out like cross-country skiing, riding their dirt bikes and four-wheelers, ATVs. I don't know, I just you see kids just looking at their phones more, and over there kids look like they're more active outside. I didn't see most kids with phone. Even as old as like 12, 13, they didn't have phones. Kids here get phones at what, 6, 7 maybe? It's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's it, they're gone. But over there, they're outside, talking to each other, socializing, communicating, playing, running around, having fun, till an older age. And I think that's important. So I really actually like that. I'm like, maybe it's good that they don't have phones and technology at such an early age.
Mm-hmm.
And they have computers at school, so they can use that to learn at school. And yeah, I'm not sure what other resources will be missing besides just entertainment and different venues. I should say the city I was in, the town I was in, was one of the best ones in the north. It was known as a hub of the north, so it had a lot of good resources. For example, we had an arena where we went skating. In the winter, we went skating many times, so that was amazing. We went ice skating indoors, even though it wasn't heated, so it was minus 20, minus 15 degrees. We were skating, even though it was indoors. There was no heating. It was natural ice.
Right.
What else? And yeah, the town had a lot of good resources. Yeah, we had a swimming pool in the summer, indoor swimming pool.
Very nice.
Indoor skating rink. We had a gym. The school had amazing resources, and we had a community center. The town had running water and water filtration system, water treatment center,
which is lacking in a lot of remote communities, which is a pretty basic thing to thrive as a healthy human.
I'm just gonna guess that most northern communities maybe don't have water treatment and running water. I'm gonna guess, especially I've heard Nunavut is lacking in a lot of those areas, so that's terrible.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was actually a really good town, and it wasn't completely indigenous in the sense you would say indigenous town. It is an indigenous town. It belongs to indigenous people, but it had a huge mix of people. So I would say mostly white European Canadian and indigenous, but then you had people from all over, like myself. You had people from, I met people from all over. Morocco, China, Japan, Sweden, France. Like I met people from all over that, immigrated to Canada and found work up there.
Interesting.
Right. So it was very multicultural in that sense. It was an interesting place. So it wasn't that bad. And we had like two restaurants, 3 restaurants. Yeah, which is not bad for a northern community. 2 grocery stores.
Yeah, it's a huge controversy right now where people in remote communities have a much bigger grocery bill to pay than over here. Tell me about that experience. How was it going grocery shopping there?
Yeah, everything's more expensive. I don't remember the exact prices, but the most important thing are the consequences of those prices, which is you don't waste anything. Like if you have something in your fridge, and this is the best effect it had on me. If you have food in your fridge, you're not gonna buy more because you feel like eating something else. Oh, I don't want to eat the leftovers from yesterday. No, you should eat the leftovers from yesterday because it's so expensive. Oh, I want to order pizza. No, there is no pizza. Where are you gonna order from? You're gonna cook. You're gonna eat what you cook, and you're not gonna waste a single grain of rice. And even though it's more expensive, I thought I probably can't save money, but because I lived like that, I was able to save money. And now I took that habit with me everywhere else. So whenever I want to eat something every day, I look in the fridge. I try to eat the thing that's going bad first, and I try to make something out of that, as opposed to, oh, this is going bad, let's just order, or let's buy something else and make something fresh. No, eat that first. It's going bad. It's not bad yet.
Right.
You know, so it really makes you conscious of, you know, food is actually money that you worked for.
Right.
So throwing it away is throwing away your efforts, the effort that you made when you were working, your time that you're not getting back.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for a lot of people, it's hard, because for a lot of people in Northwest Territories are considered low income. And for them, it's very difficult, especially those that deal with addiction and other problems that are spending their money on things they shouldn't. So then they don't have enough left for food.
Right.
But there's also a lot of programs that help them make sure they don't go hungry. There's a lot of food programs.
Yeah, food waste is one of those things that was a bit of a shock to me when we first came here. Even as a teenager, I kind of realized, like, the numbers say it's about a 30% of all food that ends up as waste, which is a huge number. Like in Iran, it's really not the case. I mean, now it might be different. I don't know what it's like right now, but back then it was like one of those things that was drilled into your head: never to waste food, never to waste, you know, a scarce resource like food. So
Yeah.
that's always a good habit to have, because I mean, food is one of those things that I feel like with the population booming, we're gonna have a harder time of controlling it. Obviously, the less waste, the better. So
No, it's
very
definitely
interesting.
a good idea to save, because you save money, and it's good for the environment.
For sure.
And I went from that directly to China, where the amount of food left on the table after eating a meal is more than what you ate. Think about that for a second. It's crazy. Like, people throw away more food than they eat. I've never seen that before in my life. I'm like, how is that possible? How does that work? A lot of times people take it home. They do take it home. But a lot of times they also don't. They just... I saw way more food left over on tables everywhere. At such a high frequency. I saw this happen a lot everywhere around me, where there's just food left over. More than what people actually ate. I'm like, how is there so much food left? Like, how much do people eat? Like, how big was this dish that there's this much left and it's being thrown away?
Anecdotally, every time I go to a Chinese restaurant, like, the biggest portions are when you order at a Chinese restaurant. So
The portions are very big. Yeah. Portions are very big, and I think food is very cheap, so maybe it makes you not feel guilty about throwing it away. And one more thing I heard from people is that people like to eat fresh food. So that food that's left over, they don't want to eat. They prefer to, next time they want to eat something fresh. They don't want to eat the leftovers. So it's also a cultural habit of wanting to eat fresh food. But at the same time, a lot of people also don't like that, right? I met a lot of people who, like, this is terrible, this is waste, and they take the food home with them and they eat it.
right.
So there's a lot of conscious people that are against that as well. So there's all kinds of different ideas out there.
Very interesting. Well, let's take a break, and then we'll be right back.
Good idea.
All right, so we're taking a little break here, and I want to show you guys a beautiful scene here. So this is a giant tree that fell over, and as you can see, you got all the roots and everything still attached and pretty much ripped up a part of the ground. It would be interesting to know what event led to this tree coming down. I think it's a dead tree. That's probably why it fell, right? I mean, a healthy tree wouldn't be...
Not sure. I'm not sure.
Or it could be just the very strong windstorm or something.
Could have been winds. Yeah. But, man, I wonder what these wires are. which probably
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah, those are metal wires. I didn't even notice those. I thought those were roots
yeah,
or something. Interesting.
there are wires here. I wonder what that is about. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I think anyway, let's head back to the trail and continue our conversation. So, I guess congratulations are in order. You are becoming a father. Something that pretty much terrifies me as a human is being responsible for another human that is helpless. Um, Tell me a little bit about what you're feeling, what's your anticipations, how are you getting ready to become a father, one of the biggest roles that people undertake in their lifetime.
Um, yeah, I'm very excited. We just found out it's a boy.
Congratulations! Oh my God, that's wonderful. Another Dehdashti.
Yeah, the bloodline will continue.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
and last name will go on. That's the only benefit, I guess. It's the only difference. Otherwise, girl, boy, both would be great.
Oh, for sure.
Baby's
Yeah.
always good.
Yeah.
Um, but the only thing I'm trying to do to make sure I'm prepared is to have enough money, because that not having enough money would just give me a lot of stress taking care of a baby, because you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
You don't know what sort of emergencies could arise, like
Right.
some kind of health issue, or I don't know. There's so many unknowns in life. You don't know what's going to happen. So if I can have enough money saved up for those unknowns, I would feel less stress and feel happier, feeling more calm and confident in being able to take care of a baby. Just being prepared for that. And my other worry is recently I've developed a bit of an arrhythmia, which I don't know why. I just know it happened after I traveled to China. People said maybe it's the food, maybe it's like it's too salty, maybe it's the stress, overwhelmed over there. But it just got worse and worse to the point that where I could feel my heart skip a beat with every single breath. It's called an extrasystole. So full on irregular heartbeat all day, every day. And I started taking a beta blocker for it. Now it's good, but I still can't physically exert myself too much, and I feel like muscle cramps, and I'm losing my hair a little bit. So this is an unknown uncertainty that's scary for me, and I don't even care about my health anymore. As long as I can live well enough to take care of my kid, that's good enough for me. So I want to figure this out. This is another source of stress. So I want to be healthy enough to take care of my family. That's all that comes down to it. So I want to figure that out. And that's it. I think these are the two most important things. First, I should be healthy enough to take care of my family, be able to provide for them, and two, prepared for unknowns, like my own health or my family's health or whatever else that could happen. You never know, right? So I think having money will help me be prepared for those unknowns. And that's it, really. Otherwise, I'm not worried. I'm very excited and looking forward to being a dad. I think it's going to be amazing, lots of fun, and it's going to feel like nothing else.
Sorry, are we going off trail? Because the marker was pointing that way.
It doesn't matter. We could,
Okay.
Because I kept track of where we're going.
Okay, good.
We could probably head back soon.
Yeah, because I'd like to
Because-
upload this as opposed to someone finding it in a couple of years because we got lost and then perished. But
Yeah. If we head back now, we'll be back in over an hour.
okay, that's
Which will be what? Which will be just like. Oh, I think we actually should head back. Yeah.
Okay,
So based on the time, let's go back this way.
sounds good. So yeah, I feel like that's a very common concern with parents when, you cannot be a risk taker anymore because you're not only jeopardizing your own future, you're jeopardizing your offspring's future because they're completely dependent on you and your ability to provide. So
Yeah.
that is a very common concern, and it kind of makes sense.
I think the first thing I did I bought life insurance.
Oh yeah.
I was like, man, I have an arrhythmia. I'm having a kid. Okay, what if I die? Okay, life insurance. Like,
That's a
Yeah.
very prudent move.
yeah. So that's one thing I did. But obviously that's not enough, right? I still need to take care of my family while I'm
Yep.
alive. So I'm gonna try to do that as best as I can.
Very
Find
interesting.
ways to make money and save up as much as possible. And yeah, just be prepared for that and figure out what's wrong with my heart. And yeah, resolve that. Because it's not that bad. Like the doctors I spoke to, they couldn't figure out why. But they said, hey, you're not going to die anytime soon.
Okay, that's
because
good.
your arrhythmia,
Knock on wood.
yeah, your arrhythmia is not lethal. It's coming from a part of the heart that's like considered non-lethal. It's fine. You're going to be fine. But you also shouldn't let it keep happening every day. So take this pill. It'll stop it. Okay, it stopped. But if I stop taking the pill, it'll come back. Right? So it's not a permanent solution. And taking this pill long term is not good. It's not good for you. So I need to figure out what's wrong there.
Right.
Which I'm sure somebody will help me with that. We'll find out soon.
Hopefully.
I need to see some people about that. Yeah. Other than that, yeah. Being a dad sounds awesome, and I look forward to it.
That's wonderful. How are you educating yourself? How are you preparing to care for an infant?
Oh,
Obviously,
YouTube totally.
oh, YouTube, the best educational resource in the world currently. So yeah, obviously being a teacher gives you a huge advantage because you already have a good amount of experience dealing with little kids. But I guess you watch a lot of YouTube videos on how to do the basic stuff.
I think with just every question that comes up, you try to find the answers one by one, right? So, for example, what do you need during the first 6 months of having a child? You can just research that and find the answers from different people. We obviously have a doctor that helps us with that.
Right.
We have family that helps us with that. They tell us this is what you need, this is what you should prepare. So we try to, for example, prepare the right clothes.
Sorry to cut you off. Is this a mushroom? This is a very interesting mushroom.
That is that's a mushroom. Fungus.
Beautiful.
Really cool.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, you do have a lot of resources that will help you throughout your journey. So
Not just online, but actual people, like experiences. Like my mother will come and help us when the baby's
very
born.
nice.
And it's much easier and better to learn from a person that's there in front of you, showing you how to do something, as opposed to watching it or reading about it and then trying to replicate what you saw or read. So, yeah, I think learning from many resources about every single question or issue that come up, and just being prepared. So there's so much information on the internet about that, and then you can read about it, then consult a doctor and a real person about it. Say, hey, what do you think about this? Like, is this a good idea? Do I need to have this item? Should I buy this? Should I learn about this? What should we prepare? Like, for example, for breastfeeding, what should you have for that? Right? What kind of bed should I get? Because those are the early things, right? The early things are just like keep the baby healthy and alive.
Right.
Then after like 1 year, maybe 6 months to 1 year, then education comes in, like teaching the baby life skills and good habits. And after that, like other forms of education come in, I guess, is learning basic things like maybe the alphabet and numbers and things you're supposed to learn in kindergarten, which many kids don't
Right.
in kindergarten, sadly. But they should. But I'm confident that at least I can help my kid learn those things at home. So give him a good base, a foundation before he goes to school. He will know his letters and numbers.
Interesting.
Well, that's a long time from now. That's like 3-4 years from now.
All I know is that it's gonna pass by in a blink of an eye. Before you know it,
Before I'm a grandpa? Probably, yeah.
most likely.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's take another tangent here. So you talked about your recent experiences of potential issues with your heart. You used to be actually a huge guy. You used to lift quite a lot of heavy weights. One of my inspirations for bodybuilding was you and your ginormous arms. Tell me about your philosophy of keeping healthy, eating healthy, staying active. What do you like to do? Obviously, you've been a little bit. This heart problem has impeded your normal lifestyle. I know you're a runner.
Yeah.
You like to hike a lot. How do you keep healthy? What's your philosophy around eating healthy and staying active?
I guess I can start from now and go back in time, because now like I can still hike. As you can see, we're walking, we're going uphill. It's fine. Just slow my pace. Don't go too fast, and hopefully I won't have irregular heartbeat by slowing down. Mostly I just walk and do this, bike a little bit, very, very slowly, and that's it for now. One thing I learned is I feel better if I eat my meal, then wait 2-3 hours, don't eat anything, then sleep. And when I wake up, don't eat right away. Wait a couple hours, then eat. So those two things definitely had an amazing positive impact on my life and feeling healthy. And I recommend that for everybody. Don't eat right away when you get up. And don't eat right before bed. Wait a few hours, at least 2-3 hours. Eat, then don't eat anything for 2 hours, 3 hours, then sleep. And if you are getting hungry before bed, I think you're just not eating the right things. Right? You're just eating a lot of sugar, and then you get hungry again before bedtime. So, but I'm not a doctor, so so maybe.
Although I do feel like you do have a good understanding of these matters. You were a certified personal trainer at one point, so you have had a good amount of education in terms of what nutritious food is and what are the building blocks of a healthy body in terms of diet.
Yeah, I don't want to give anybody health advice, but I would say that I did study science for 8 years total in university. So, but not nutrition. I studied everything. I studied medicine. I studied physiology, biology, environmental science, forestry, so many things. And that's why I became a teacher, because with all those different things, I couldn't narrow it down to one specific path. Besides, hey, maybe I can share this knowledge with somebody else. And teaching, right? I have all this vast variety of knowledge. I guess teaching is the best thing to do, to share that, because there's nothing else that makes me that happy besides teaching. But yeah, so I have some kind of knowledge, but it's not specific to like nutrition or like sports physiology or something like that. But yeah, I think everybody knows what's healthy and what's not healthy, and it's just the hard part is actually doing it, like making the right decision. Because like also one more thing I found is eating healthy at home. The way to do it is to give yourself healthy options at home. So if I put ice cream in the fridge and cookies in the cupboard, then I'm gonna eat them. I can't really control myself, right? I'm gonna eat them whenever I want to, as much as I want to, till I feel a little sick. Like I can't eat anymore. I'm having a sugar crash. But if you don't have ice cream and cookies at home, and whenever you feel like having an ice cream, you go out, you buy one, you eat that, and that's it. And until next time, that's the way to do it. So providing yourself with healthy options at home is also the best way, I think, to start being healthy. So don't have unhealthy stuff at home. And whenever you feel like eating something unhealthy, do it rarely and only go out and buy one thing and eat that and really enjoy that and earn it.
Very good advice.
Yeah, just don't do it often. Don't have it at home. That's, I think, is the most important thing for eating healthy.
And eating at home, it really allows you to measure what goes into your food. And a lot of times when you go to a restaurant and you taste something that's delicious, it's mostly because of the butter and the amount of salt and MSG that they put in everything. So,
and this is not health advice, right? So I can say that easily,
right?
Because everybody can read labels, and if you're reading the label of a bread and you see anything besides, like, I don't know, you see anything besides wheat flour and yeast and wheat germ and a few other things, if you see any chemical names like sodium penthanate or something like that, or if, I don't know, if you see more than 20, 30 ingredients, you probably shouldn't eat that. If something can stay on the shelf for a year and nothing can, and it can't go bad, just don't eat it. If something is in a box and has 30 ingredients, just don't eat it. Eat something that could go bad in a few days and look at the ingredients. Everybody can do that, right? You don't need to be a doctor to say that.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. I think preservatives are great for business, not great for your body.
Yeah, they're preservatives or addictive substances that make something taste good, and it's not good for you.
Very interesting. So, hi again.
Oh, sorry.
Are you okay?
Yeah, it really bit me.
Oh, I'm so
She's a little
sorry.
aggressive.
Is she vaccinated?
Yeah, she.
Good, okay.
Yeah, no,
All right.
she is. Sorry about that.
No worries. That was a big bite.
You okay? All right. So, in your role as an educator, I feel like you probably take advantage of the fact that you're kind of a performer as well. You're very good with guitar instruments. I don't know if you play any other instruments. You have a beautiful voice. And I know recently in your travels in China, you actually took the huge step of performing in public a couple of times, which was, I guess, a big fear for you that you're not used to performing in public. But you did it over there. And tell me how being a bit of a performer and a musical expert helps you with your role as an educator.
Yeah, it definitely helps to motivate the students with music, and also especially for younger kids. Definitely helps to motivate them and make them happy and make them just happy being at school. There's a lot of educational songs for kindergarten and lower elementary levels that you can use to help kids learn. And for, I guess, older grades, or any grade actually, it's really fun to teach them songs and get them interested in performing and being confident and speaking loudly and singing in front of groups, singing in front of like a large groups helps them with their confidence. And it's just all around fun. Yeah, and I really enjoy it too. I enjoy playing guitar and singing, and it's nice to share your hobby, share the things you love with your students. So it benefits me and benefits the students, and it's amazing. I'll probably do it as long as I teach. As long as I'm a teacher, I'll keep playing music and singing for the kids.
Yeah, I gotta give kudos to you. You know, teaching is one of those careers that's not really as appreciated in our capitalistic world, but I feel like there's spiritual rewards. It's one of those selfless careers that, you know, the teachers should be placed on one of the highest echelons of society. The job that they do raising the next generation is so important, but unfortunately they don't get as much admiration and as much remuneration that they deserve. So I hope that changes in the future. But yeah, I really thank you for doing the job that is truly needed and is truly vital. However, you know, it may not have the highest salary or the best benefits.
Definitely not in in the bigger cities, which I think which is crazy, because probably education should be more valued, and how much a government or a country or any system invests in education shows how much they value it, right? So if they invested more in education and cared more about it, like if they invested more in education, it probably shows that they would care more about it, right? So when they don't, it just shows that it's not as valuable as other stuff.
Yeah, in case you didn't know, Sam got bit by a puppy, by a dog, a little bit earlier in the trail.
Yeah, very unexpected.
Very unexpectedly, and it was a
This,
small dog too, but
yeah, this
unfortunately there's this.
sanitizing napkin.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's a small little bite mark that's left.
Rub it on here.
Always a concern if you get bit by a dog, especially if you don't know if it's a stray dog. You definitely need to get tested.
Yeah, well, thankfully it's not a stray dog. The owner said it's vaccinated, and I'm not bleeding.
Yeah.
But
so,
my skin, I think I'm bleeding under the skin.
yeah,
Which
it's unfortunate.
who knows? Yeah.
But yeah, again, you know, thank you for doing a job that is truly needed and helping raise the next generation. Oh, sorry, buddy. But yeah, I think that's about it. Do you have any other, you know, words of wisdom that you'd like to pass on?
It's hard to think of one on the spot.
Give it as much as you want. Like, we got a couple of hours, I think.
I think the most important thing in life is to, yeah, it's kind of hard to say. The most important thing in life, as soon as that came out of my mouth, I'm like,
there are other
that-
important things too.
it's a really big statement to make. And yeah, I think one important thing in life
That's better.
is to have a goal and a purpose and always work towards it, because without it, life would have no meaning.
Right.
And I think that's what a lot of people suffer from, not having that. So if you can find that and continuously work towards that, then at least you got a small part of it figured out.
Right. Hi there. Yes, definitely having a goal and working towards it is a huge part of having a successful and thriving life. Because without goal, you're just wandering around.
Yeah.
And you know, wandering in terms of you know, intellectually is a good thing, but in life it may not be the best.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot more things that are important in life, but this is, I think it's the first, maybe the first and one
I would
of
say the
top
most important thing in
priorities.
life is surviving. So that's
Yeah, for sure.
that's probably the most important. But then, yeah, this
Yeah.
is probably one of the rather important things you have to have in your life is a goal and dreams that you work
Surviving
towards.
is a goal and goal too.
That's true.
If that's the most important thing in the moment, if that's the priority in the moment, that you have to survive, yeah.
Very true.
If you can't survive, you can't have other goals to pursue. So, yeah.
Right. All right. Well, again, thank you so much. We're still hiking at the beautiful Rattlesnake Point Conservation in the Halton region. Beautiful trail. I definitely recommend it to anyone that can make it out here. Sam, thank you for your time. I really appreciate you being a good friend of mine. I feel like most of my friends that I've known have come from a connection with you. So thank you for enriching my life for the past decade and a half. And I look forward to having you in my life for many more decades to come. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, week, month, and a year ahead. Have a good one.